This is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching. Today's video is related to the Lone Star. Many years ago, one of the first quilts I made, and it was hand stitched, was this version of the Lone Star. I decided a project to do would be to do another Lone Star quilt, but this one is a smaller version, and you can see it's multicolored. I used a lot of my scrap fabric for this. The Lone Star has 8 points, and you work on one section, one of the points, and it's a diamond, and it's made out of diamonds. And then when you have 2 of those done, you sew those together, then go on and sew 2 more sections together when you get them made. And you end up with half of your star. The directions that I have show a small diamond, a medium diamond, that's the one on the left, and a large diamond. I decided to use the medium-sized diamond as I was going through this. In the demonstration piece I'm going to show you in a few minutes is going to be using the larger one. I started cutting out my sections, and I thought, well, I'm not going to overcut this time, so I'll cut a few, use them up, and then cut a few more. And right now I've still got 2.5 diamond panels to do, so this will be plenty for that. I got carried away. And what I do is I usually put them into a stack of lights and a stack of darks and mediums, and I can choose from those. And you can just sit down. The first panels or 2 that I did, I just sat down and I'd pull a piece out and add it to it as I was going. As I got farther along and I wanted to have the pieces sort of go together and not have repeats too close together, then I would start laying out. You can see this has got 4 sections already done. Well, then when I got to the 5th, I would lay out some colors and see how I liked those. And this is just like a crazy, it almost looks like a tie. It was so funny. This is like my star version, my tie version of the Lone Star. Now, I probably won't use those colors I just laid out there, but it probably wouldn't matter either. And then I just put them in a stack. But before I did that, I'd probably, since there's going to be 6 columns to sew, I'd still have another column. And so I just lay it out. And that's really easy then to carry with you if you're going somewhere else and you just want to sew while you're gone. This is the diamond piece that I'm going to add another diamond to. And that will make my next pair out of my 8. And the first one on the next row, I'm going to take and put the first one face up. And I've already gone and I have marked where I want to start and stop. And that's going to really be helpful to you later when you get to another part. And I just basically laid the template on there, and I had holes where that is, and pulled it away in there. These I made darker for you so you could see them. Then I take the next one that's going to be added, and when I looked at this, this has got to turn up. So the next piece is going to be at an angle similar to this. And there I've got these 2 dots marked also. So I'm going to take and lay those on top of each other. And I'm going to pin through, those match. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to use dark thread so that you can see. I've got a terribly big needle, but will make bigger stitches than I do and make it nice and secure right there. Now you probably haven't cut off the little end pieces, the little dog ears, so I'd go ahead and cut those off now because you're not going to need those and want to cut them off later anyway. And then start sewing, and I have to do this knee thing where I set my hand on my knees so I can get plenty of leverage and do those small stitches. Check your stitches on the back, make sure that they're going through. Now this one I used 2 threads because I wanted to make sure you could see it, but And when my thread is nice and strong, I just use one thread, and then you don't build up and get all that bulk. And so I'm going to travel all the way down to this other one. Now, it's really kind of fun when you use a great big piece like this, but I wasn't going to go for a big quilt again. And this one I wanted to do hand stitch. When I started out sewing, and I said, okay, if I'm going to hand stitch this whole thing together, then I'm going to hand stitch the top when I get it made. Then I can get down and stop at that dot, and then do a couple of back stitches to hold it. And there are going to be 6 for mine, so there would be 2 of the pieces. And when I fold it over, you can see I've got it now. Because that was magic marker, you really can see that, and then you won't have that. Then I've already got another piece marked, and I'm going to take and put the face down with the face here. I already have 2 dots on that one, so I put it on, and you can see it's sort of right because of the way the dog ears hang out. I'm going to put a pin in this one, and then I'm ready to start from this end and sew all the way across, and I do that to all 6 pieces. I'm not sewing. All right, and this is when you get ready to put your pieces together, and this is what I've been fighting with the whole time, because on the front I wanted these points to come together as much as they could, so I kept trying to experiment and to get it. And so what I finally decided was I pushed both of the seams to one direction instead of doing one way and one the other, because when I tried doing that, which usually works, it doesn't work on this. And then you can sort of feel where there's my dot on this side, and you can sort of open it up and look and see whether you're close to where that one was there, and that's very close. So I'm going to take that's going to stay, and then pin it this way, because those seams are laying down a certain way, and once I start stitching from here, I'm going to stitch over. I'm going to leave those seams laying down the way they've wanted to lay down. Then I'm going to move over to the next one, get my pin, and lots of times it seems like they both want to lay the same way, so I'm going to pin through that circle that I had, that dot, and I'm going to look under there and find the dot there, and I'm going to take and pin that through and then pin it down, and do that all the way to the end. Then when I get ready to start here, I'm going to start, and I'm going to stitch 1/4 of an inch all the way through, leave those turned just like they are, those seams, and then when you get done and lay it down, you'll see how close you are to getting those points right where you want them to be. But then remember, there's going to be so many points when you get finished that 1 or 2, whatever many are off. Like here's, I've got one that's slightly, well, now it's not slightly off. When I get it opened up, it won't be off. And you sew all those sections together. This was working on hand stitching a Lone Star pattern for a quilt. This is Stephanie,